Monday of week 5. I hope everyone's doing well. We're back now with our fourth weekly instalment of our Guardians of the Planet book. And this week we are focusing all on water, freshwater fiend, the title is for this chapter. So some days will be a bit longer than others, but I'm working through the whole chapter in these 5 days, and we're going to look at everything from wasting water, home truths, so what we do at home that wastes water, your water footprint, water pollution, clean and green, and habitat harm, which is harming the habitat of those creatures that live and rely on the water. So let's have a look at our first chapter. Now, I listened to this with the year sixes when I was in there last week, and I could not believe the amount of ers that I've done in the video. So I've promised the year sixes that my aim is to stop doing as many ers. So we'll see how it goes. Right, freshwater fiend. Water is not something you probably think about a lot. Just turn on the tap and fresh, clean water usually flows out. But water isn't distributed equally around the planet. Pollution and water waste have made the problem worse, and some supplies are at breaking point. Freshwater friends are urgently required. Why is water so important? You ideally need to drink 2 litres of water a day to stay healthy. Water helps your body to control temperature, transport nutrients, flush out waste, and much, much more. A staggering 2.1 billion people, more than a quarter of the planet, live without safe drinking water at home, which might seem absolutely unbelievable to us because, like it said in the book, we used to turn the tap and fresh water coming out. But there are a lot of people in other countries that are drinking water that is heavily polluted from factories, from animal waste, and they are a lot of them, if some people die because of the water that they drink, and it's making them really, really ill. Unclean and unfit. People rely on water to farm and keep themselves clean and healthy via sewage systems. Poor sewage systems can result in rivers, lakes, and wells becoming contaminated with human and animal waste or polluted by chemicals dumped by industry. Dirty water can also spread lethal diseases such as cholera, dysentery, and polio. And then again, just to talk about that, when it's talking about our sewage systems, so in the UK, we have when we flush our toilet, or the sewage doesn't just go into our nearby water systems, it gets all the way flushed out to sea. So when we drink our water, we don't drink the same water that the dirty water goes in. In other countries, they don't have that. So unfortunately, the dirty water that they have either gets put in a bucket and thrown into the street or a local river, which is the river that they drink from. Or if they do have any sewage pipes, it just gets piped into the local river, which is where they get the drinking water from. And again, that's the same for factories. If they live nearby factories, the same pollution goes into the water then. And that same thing used to happen many years ago in this country, but it doesn't now. So we've got in here, diarrhea caused by unclean water and poor sanitation is responsible for as many as 842,000 deaths a year, according to the World Health Organization, which is unbelievable. In short supply, about 3/10 of the Earth's fresh water lies underground. People access it by digging wells, but in some parts of the world, these water sources are under stress. The water in over half of India's wells is being used up more quickly than it can be replaced. So what it's saying is that in places like India, they're digging the wells, which are these here, to access the water that's underground, but the water is being used faster than it should be, and then they're running out quicker. So the supply isn't meeting the demand. Climate change also affects water supplies. For instance, more than a quarter of Peru's ice cap has melted away since 1980. Further loss could deprive thousands of people living nearby of drinking water, which is sad. So again, if they're relying on the ice cap to provide them with water, if they're saying there that a quarter of it has melted since 1980, so for about 40 years, that they're worried that the drinking water, the supply there won't be there in another 40 years. My gosh. So that's introduced us to the importance of water pollution. Let's have a look at our wasting water. So, wasting water. About 97.5% of the world's water is too salty for humans to use, meaning the fresh water from your kitchen tap is really precious. But your family's water use is likely to mount up rapidly. These handy tips can help you tackle the problem firsthand. Right, let's have a look, see if we're wasting any water at home. In the time it takes you count to 10, a running kitchen tap can send 1.5 litres of clean water straight down the plug hole. Always use a plug when washing up. Now, I do make sure I do that because I don't have a dishwasher at home. My kitchen's too small, so I have to wash up annoyingly. But I remember when I first started washing up years ago, I used to just use the tap and a sponge. And I remember my mum saying to me, oh, what are you doing that for? You're wasting loads of water. And I thought, well, maybe I am. So now I make sure I fill all of the bowl with water and then wash up. In 2016, the Water Research Foundation estimated that a typical American used 220 litres of water each day. Just 31 people's annual water use would empty an Olympic swimming pool. When washing fruit and vegetables, don't run them under a cold tap. Fill a small bowl of water instead and wash them in that. Clean costs. Washing machines are marvellous things, but they can use lots of water. This can mean that a large washing machine consumes 160 litres or more for a single washing up cycle. So it's important to make each wash count. So what it's saying is, don't just fill your washing machine half up. Make sure that it's full up right to the top and you can't get any more in. So that might be even after the whole day potentially, and then put one wash on rather than putting little ones in throughout the day. If your shirt or shorts are borderline wash ready but don't whiff of high heaven, use them to play sport. Get an extra wear out of them before you put them in the wash. Encourage your family to use the washing machine sparingly, which means not very often. They should only switch it on once a full load is ready, so quite similar to our dishwasher. If a piece of cloth is basic clean but just has a small stain or mark on it, sponge off with a little water poured into a cup. If your favourite shirt or skirt is dirty and you need it urgently, you can hand wash it using a small bowl of lukewarm water and a teaspoon of washing powder. Keep a jug of water in your fridge. This water will be chilled whenever you need it and saves you running a tap until the water gets cold. I do that. Cooking vegetables in a steamer uses less water than boiling them. Baking foods in the oven uses even less. Wow. My gosh, that's impressive, isn't it? So there's little bits and pieces there to give us tips about, and it's quite a similar structure as to the last chapter about telling us about the dangers of water that we might not realise, and how water isn't evenly distributed across the world. And then our next one is, because we're in a very privileged position with fresh, clean water, what can we do to help save more of that and not waste it? Things like when you're running the tap for cold water, and I do this, wait until it's cold and then fill up my cup, or maybe I should put a jug of water in the fridge. When I'm washing up, so when you're doing your washing up at home, children, for your mums and dads, make sure you fill the whole bowl and then wash it up. Or if you've got a dishwasher, don't just shove it on when you've got a couple of plates in there. Make sure it's really, really full. What I'd like you to do is have a chat with the people on your tables or at home. What things could you do at home? Is there anything like me that I picked up that I do about filling my water bottle up when it's cold? Is there anything you can do at home or at school to make sure that you're using less water, or that when you're using water, you're using it more effectively? Tomorrow we are going to look at home truths to do with water, and then your water footprint. Okay. Have a great Monday, everyone. Keep safe. It's nice and sunny today, so hopefully you'll get out in the playground, or you'll get outside for a little bit, children who are working from home. I will see you all on Tuesday. Bye.